Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever thought about what it really takes for a company to pivot its entire internal culture, its whole way of operating, just based on a single ambitious vision? It's way more than just adopting new tech, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's about fundamentally rethinking how work gets done.
Yeah.
And today, we're taking a deep dive into Shopify's, well, pretty groundbreaking approach to AI adoption. You might have seen Shopify CEO Tobi Lütke's public memo, the one that basically declared AI usage a baseline expectation.
Oh, yeah, that memo made waves. It practically became its own genre, didn't it? Spurring other companies on.
It really did. But what actually happened inside Shopify after that memo landed, that's what we want to unpack. Our mission here is to dig into how they went from that memo to like a fundamental cultural movement.
Yeah.
We're looking for those non-obvious insights, the specific tactics, the surprising workflows that made it happen, and we're getting it straight from the source. Shopify's VP and head of engineering, Farhan Thawar.
Right. So if you're grappling with how to bring AI into your own work or maybe into your organization more effectively, or you're just curious about how leading companies are really using this tech, this deep dive should offer some really practical and maybe sometimes kind of counterintuitive lessons.
Definitely.
So let's start by setting the stage a bit.
Okay, so it's really important to get this.
Yeah.
While Lütke's memo definitely accelerated things, Shopify's internal response to AI, it had actually been building for years. They weren't starting from zero. They were already early, eager adopters.
Okay, so not just a reaction to the hype then.
Not at all. Farhan Thawar, for example, he brought GitHub Copilot into Shopify super early. Like so early they couldn't even officially pay for it yet.
Wow, really? Bringing in a tool like Copilot before you can even properly purchase it, that suggests a very proactive stance. What kind of adoption did they see back then?
Get this. A full year before ChatGPT exploded onto the scene, they already had 80% adoption of Copilot among their engineers.
80%, that's huge, especially back then.
Right. Thor initially thought, only 80%, that's terrible, which is kind of funny in hindsight. But yeah, that rapid, widespread adoption showed just how much value people were getting, like immediately.
Yeah.
And it clearly signaled they were ready for much broader AI integration.
Okay, now here's where Shopify's strategy really seems to diverge from what you might expect, right? A lot of places worry about the cost, the risks of these powerful AI models. So they restrict access, keep it just for the tech teams.
Exactly. But Shopify made this really bold call. Let anyone, engineers, sales reps, support, anyone use the most expensive, most powerful AI models, company-wide.
Anyone? Seriously, that feels radical.
It is. Their, let's call it, counterintuitive thesis is that high-value use cases, the real game changers, they could pop up absolutely anywhere in the company. You just have no idea which random workflow built by someone unexpected is going to be the most impactful one. Thauer mentioned he ordered 1,500 cursor licenses initially, then another 1,500. And the fastest growing groups using it, not engineering, it was support and revenue teams.
No kidding. Support and revenue. That must have really challenged some assumptions about where the innovation was supposed to come from.
Totally. It flew in the face of conventional wisdom.
So how did they even manage that? Like, how did they get to a place where that kind of broad access was even feasible? I mean, the legal hoops, the compliance stuff, that alone would stop most companies in their tracks.
Okay. So that brings us neatly to their first key tactic. You have to get your lawyers to say yes by default.
Easier said than done, right?
Well, yeah, but it really comes down to alignment from the very top. Senior leadership decided AI adoption was paramount, like non-negotiable. So legal's job became finding a path to yes, not just lifting obstacles.
So a mindset shift in the legal department itself.
Precisely. When Thawar wanted to bring in Copilot way back in late 2021, he basically went to legal and said, look, we're probably doing this. How can we do it safely? And the response wasn't no. It was, okay, let's figure out a way.
That's a world away from the usual experience.
It really is. Thawar hears from other CTOs in his network, in his WhatsApp groups, and they're constantly hitting legal roadblocks at even top-tier tech companies. So Shopify's approach seems quite different.
Okay, so that proactive legal stance is foundational. But beyond legal, there's the other big elephant in the room, cost. These models aren't cheap, especially if you're talking wall-to-wall use across the whole company. How did Shopify tackle that, significant financial barrier?
Right. So their second tactic, basically unlimited spend on AI tools.
Unlimited spend. Okay, that sounds expensive.
Well, yeah, but they actively encourage people to use AI if they're getting value from it, even with the price tag. They don't set quotas or budget limits for AI usage.
Great, no quotas.
Nope. In fact, they have this internal leaderboard for cursor token usage, but it's framed as a proxy for value, like, look who's getting a lot done,
Hmm.
not as a spending cap or something to be worried about. Even Shopify's CTO, Mikhail Perekin, apparently showed up in the top 10 on that leaderboard.
Huh. That's a cool way to spin it. Encourages exploration, not restriction. And Thauer has a pretty strong economic argument for this open wallet approach, doesn't he?
He really does. His point is, look, if your engineers are spending maybe an extra $1,000 a month on LLMs, but they're getting 10% more productive, that's too cheap, as he puts
Yeah,
it.
too cheap.
Yeah. He actually sees it as worrying when he hears about CTOs clamping down on spending because of token costs. He argues it kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? You're trying to drive widespread adoption and big productivity gains, but then you nickel and dime the very tools that enable it.
That makes sense. So, okay, everyone has access, everyone has permission, the budget's basically open. How did Shopify make sure all these different AI tools and models could actually be used, like, seamlessly, especially with such a diverse workforce using them?
Good question. That leads to their strategy of having one AI interface and MCPs for everything.
Okay, break that down. One AI interface.
Yeah, they built an internal LLM proxy. Think of it as a single front door. Users go there to access and switch between a whole bunch of different models, GPT-4, Claude, whatever's new. They update it as soon as new models drop.
Ah, clever. So it helps with scaling, tracking usage, maybe even failover if one model goes down.
Exactly. And the MCP everything part.
Yeah.
MCP stands for Mission Critical Platform. It basically means making every single piece of data inside the company wherever it lives, Slack, Salesforce, Google Drive, internal wikis, accessible and queryable, so people can pull that data into their AI tools and build their own custom workflows on top of it.
Wow. That sounds like true democratization of data and AI power, not just access to the tools, but access to the raw materials they need.
Pretty much.
So what kind of surprising real-world applications have bubbled up from this, especially from those non-technical teams you mentioned?
Okay, yeah, some really cool stuff. Take this workflow, a site audit tool that completely changed how their sales prospecting works.
Site audits. Okay.
Yeah, Shopify uses website performance benchmarking when talking to potential merchants. But previously, a human had to manually dig up all the data, compare it, write up the report. Super time-consuming, labor-intensive.
Right. I can imagine.
So a non-technical sales rep, using Cursor, built a tool. It automatically pulls data for a prospect's website, compares it against Shopify benchmarks, spits out a detailed comparison, and even provides specific talking points for the sales call.
Built by a sales rep using Cursor.
Yep. And Shopify's chief revenue officer, Bobby Morrison, apparently loved it. He pointed out that this task, which used to eat up so much valuable human time, is now trivial. Just push a button.
That's huge.
And because it's now so cheap and easy, they can rethink the entire sales process. Like maybe bring those performance insights way earlier in the conversation, even for less qualified leads, because the cost of doing it is basically zero.
Wow. Okay. Going from a manual slog to something trivial, that's a massive transformation. What other kinds of unexpected workflows popped up?
Another really fascinating one is this sales engineer who built himself a "What should I do today?" page.
Oh, what should I do today? Page.
Yeah, using Cursor again, connected to all those MCPs, G Suite Drive, Slack, Salesforce, you name it. This dashboard pulls in real-time context from all those tools and prioritizes his tasks. It basically tells him, okay, based on everything happening, this is the email you need to respond to right now for that deal that's about to close, or this Slack thread needs your attention.
So it synthesizes everything into one actionable list.
Exactly. And the kicker, Thawar shared this detail. He literally doesn't work in any of those other tools anymore.
Yeah.
He works in Cursor as his homepage. He doesn't go into email. It's insane.
Okay, that is insane, just living in Cursor.
Wow.
It almost makes you rethink your own morning routine, checking 10 different maps. Imagine that level of focus.
Right. And speaking of notoriously painful tasks, let's talk about RFPs, requests for proposals.
The bane of many sales teams' existence. Necessary evil, right?
Totally. Mountains of questions, lots of repetitive work. So Shopify's revenue tooling team built an agent using an open source tool called LibreChat that answers multiple RFP questions at once.
How does it do that accurately?
It taps into an internal content repository, think public documentation, help docs, case studies, all that stuff, to generate context-rich answers. And crucially, it cites its sources so humans can verify.
That's key. Citation is huge for trust.
Absolutely. And it gets smarter. It assigns a certainty score to its answers so you know how confident it is. Plus, it learns from past RFPs, specifically from answers that were part of winning proposals to improve its future responses.
Okay, so it's not just automating, it's learning and improving win rates. That's a serious game changer for their revenue team.
Removes huge amounts of toil, boosts their win rate. Yeah, pretty significant.
All right, so we've seen how democratizing access, even to the expensive stuff, has sparked these incredible new workflows. Now, their second big insight. It feels almost like a reaction against some common fears about AI, doesn't it? Make AI show its work, don't hide it.
Yeah, it's an interesting flip side. The worry often is, AI will make us lazy, disengage our brains. But Shopify's take is that AI done right can actually show you more detail, pull you in deeper, and increase engagement, especially if your goal isn't just task completion, but teaching mastery.
Okay. So counter to the idea of making AI this seamless, invisible magic box.
Exactly. While lots of UX design aims to hide complexity, Shopify realized that if you want people to really understand, to question, to improve, showing the AI's steps, its reasoning, can be incredibly valuable.
So how do they actually put that into practice, this idea of showing its work?
One really cool tactic they use is something they call context engineering humans.
Context engineering, got humans. Okay, tell me more.
So they have an AI agent that digests a ton of information. Pull requests, documents, meeting notes, GitHub issues, Slack conversations related to a project. It then automatically drafts a weekly project update for the project champion, the person leading it.
Okay, saves them time writing the update.
Yes, but here's the crucial part. The AI doesn't just send the update. It gives the draft to the human champion, along with specific prompts. Prompts designed to challenge them, to make them critically engage with the summary, like what potential misalignments does this surface, or what risks aren't being adequately addressed here.
So the AI does the first pass, but then actively nudges the human to think deeper about it. It's not just passive acceptance.
Precisely. It forces that critical engagement. The AI provides this massive head start by synthesizing everything, but the human's job is to apply judgment, find the nuances, spot the gaps.
That's clever. How did that land with people? Was there resistance to being context engineered, or did they get it?
It seems to have worked quite well. After the human provides their input, the AI actually rewrites the update based on that feedback.
Oh, neat.
And here's the really smart bit. The AI learns, by analyzing the diff, how much the human changed the original draft. If the human rewrites huge chunks, the AI learns its initial summary missed something important.
So it gets better at summarizing over time based on human corrections.
Exactly. And Thor mentioned that roughly half of the AI-written updates actually go out unmodified, which suggests the AI is doing a pretty decent job baseline, freeing up the humans to focus their critical thinking on the really tricky, nuanced half.
That's a fascinating feedback loop for improvement. Okay, what about in the coding world? You mentioned Shopify runs one of the largest Ruby on Rails applications anywhere. Keeping that consistent, maintaining that convention over configuration philosophy with tons of engineers,
Yeah.
that must be a huge challenge.
Oh, absolutely. It's a constant battle.
Yeah.
So their solution here is a tool called Roast.
Roast, like roasting the code.
Exactly. It's an open source AI orchestration framework they built for checking, fixing, and iterating on code contributions. It's named after an older internal tool that did, well, just that, roasted bad code.
Okay, so how does Roast show its work?
The power of Roast is how it breaks down complex coding tasks. It structures the AI's workflow into small, targeted steps. And at each step, it clearly shows the engineer the AI's reasoning. I'm changing this because of X. I'm suggesting this fix based on Y. It builds up a conversation history so the engineer can trace exactly how the AI reached its conclusion.
Transparency in the process.
Totally. And for things like grading tests, it doesn't just say pass or fail. It gives detailed feedback on why a test scored well or poorly, why this approach was good, why that one missed the mark.
So it's not just fixing the code, it's actively teaching the engineer why the fix is needed or why a certain pattern is better. It sounds like a real learning tool embedded in the workflow.
That's exactly the idea. It makes using AI agents much less of a black box. It shows its reasoning, and it helps solve really practical problems, like automatically analyzing thousands of test files to find gaps or fixing common small errors to boost overall test coverage. They see it as a new way to use AI reliably in complex engineering, which is why they decided to open source it.
Very cool. Okay, that brings us to their third big insight, which is another one that feels surprising, maybe even controversial, especially given all the talk about AI taking jobs. foster a beginner's mindset and actually hire more beginners.
Yeah, this is a conscious pivot. The original memo kind of implied AI might lead to needing fewer resources, right? But Shopify flipped that. Their mantra became, show you can use AI effectively, show you can do more with it, and then you'll get more resources.
Okay, interesting. Use AI to amplify, not just replace.
Exactly. And this directly challenges that common narrative about AI wiping out entry-level jobs. Because Shopify is actively hiring more interns, not fewer.
More interns. In the age of AI, why?
Because, the war argues, the interns are often the ones using AI in the most creative, unconstrained ways. They naturally have that beginner's mindset. They haven't learned all the rules yet about how things are supposed to be done.
So they're less burdened by existing processes and more willing to experiment with AI?
Precisely. He scaled their intern program significantly. He initially thought, okay, maybe we can handle 75 interns without new infrastructure. Then he reconsidered and set a target of potentially 1,000 interns.
1,000 interns. Wow.
Yeah. His reasoning is that interns bring this incredible energy, drive, and intensity. And in this post-LLM world, they are often AI centaurs, right out of the gate. They're constantly exploring new tools, looking for shortcuts, being lazy in that positive hacker sense of finding the most efficient path using AI. He compares it to deliberately hiring mobile natives a decade ago because they just got the mobile paradigm shift intuitively.
That's a really unique and frankly optimistic perspective on talent in the AI era. Hire the people who are already fluent.
Yeah, lean into the change.
And part of that beginner's mindset is also about encouraging more prototyping, right? Not just jumping to the first solution that works.
Yes, absolutely. The tactic is to deliberately increase the ratio of prototyped attempts to actual build attempts when developing products. It embodies their green path of product building philosophy.
And green path.
Yeah, the idea that the path to the best solution isn't usually a straight line. You have to explore. The only way to really understand a problem and find the optimal solution is by trying many different things first.
Makes sense. Avoids getting locked into the first plausible idea.
Exactly. CEO Tobi Lütke apparently challenged Thauer directly on this once. He said something like, look, there are an infinite number of bad solutions out there and maybe 10,000 good ones. Your job isn't just to find a good one. It's to find the best solution among those 10,000. What you just showed me looks like the first one that worked. Why did you stop there?
Wow, that's a high bar. That really pushes teams not to settle.
It really does. It encourages that relentless pursuit of the truly optimal solution, not just one that's functional.
Can you give an example of this kind of prototyping leading to something real?
Sure. Shopify's internal AI chat tool, the one that became quite widely used. It started as just a prototype built by one senior engineer, Matt Burnett. He was just tinkering with open source tools, trying things out.
Just one engineer playing around.
Initially, yeah. He iterated quickly, ran into problems like data loss and scaling issues, but because he got into the hands of teammates early, they exposed those flaws quickly. It went through rapid cycles of feedback and improvement. Eventually, it got so much traction and proved so useful that they spun up a dedicated engineering team to run it as a proper, supported product.
So a grassroots prototype became a core internal tool through iteration.
Exactly. A perfect example of that prototyping mindset paying off.
So with all this focus on AI use, prototyping, bringing in interns, how do they actually measure the impact? How does this connect to performance, to employee development?
That's a key question. They use an engineering activity dashboard. It tracks various elements of productivity, not just code commits, but things like time spent pair programming, conducting interviews, and critically, usage of AI tools like Cursor, Claude Code, their internal LLM proxy.
Okay, so they're tracking AI tool usage alongside other productivity metrics.
Right, and they had years of data already showing a clear positive correlation between things like pair programming and engineers having higher impact. So they ran the analysis on AI tool usage.
And what did they find?
They found a similar positive correlation. Using these AI tools correlated with higher impact, just like pair programming did.
That's powerful. Hard data showing that using these tools actually links to better outcomes, not just, more tokens spent.
Exactly. It helps them validate the investment and identify which tools are genuinely moving the needle, correlating usage with actual performance impact.
And they've even woven this into performance reviews.
They have. Shopify added specific questions about AI usage into their 360-degree review cycle. Managers and peers are asked to rate colleagues on how AI native or AI reflexive they seem to be. How naturally do they incorporate AI into their workflows?
Wow, so it's becoming part of the expected skill set, formally recognized.
Yes, it reinforces the cultural expectation. And Tor mentioned he also makes a point of actively modeling this himself. He talks about pairing with AI in his own work, showing others how he personally leverages these tools day to day.
Leading by example. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Letting everyone use the expensive models, making AI show its work, fostering that beginner's mindset. But the ultimate insight, the big aha moment, the thing with truly transformative potential. You mentioned Thor calls it the pursuit of process power.
Yes, this is where it all kind of comes together, the
Yeah.
really non-obvious value. It's not just about making your existing processes faster with AI. It's about discovering that maybe your process should be done in a completely different order, or maybe some steps aren't even necessary anymore, or maybe you should start with entirely different assumptions.
Okay, so moving beyond just efficiency gains on the current way of doing things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about elite performers like a professional sports team or chefs in a Michelin-starred kitchen. They operate at maybe 80% efficiency of motion, everything
Hmm.
optimized. The four suggests most businesses operate at maybe only 20% efficiency
20%. Why so low?
because of all the hidden waste, the undiscovered patterns, the bottlenecks, the steps done in a suboptimal sequence, simply because that's how we've always done it. AI can help uncover that waste.
Right, so it's not just optimizing the known path. It's about AI helping you find an entirely new, fundamentally more efficient path.
Precisely. Let's go back to that site audit example.
Mhm.
Because AI made creating those audits trivially cheap, it didn't just speed up the old process, it changed the entire calculus. It changed who in the sales team might create or present those audits, or when in the sales cycle it makes sense to do it. Maybe now you do it much earlier. For leads you wouldn't have invested that manual time in before. It transforms the whole flow.
That makes perfect sense. It's like you said, it's not just faster, it's different. Almost like the Toyota production system discovering waste on the factory floor, but applied to knowledge work.
That's a great analogy. It fundamentally changes the underlying assumptions about cost and effort. Thor argues that AI allows you to attack the sheer combinatorial complexity of your production line, all the possible sequences and dependencies in your workflows. You can find optimizations that make the whole thing not just 10% faster, but maybe 1,000 times faster or more efficient by rearranging the pieces.
Finding those hidden levers that unlock massive gains.
Exactly. And that, he says, is where the real magic is. The pursuit of discovering process power.
What a fascinating deep dive. We've really unpacked Shopify's unique journey here, from that bold move to embrace expensive AI models company-wide, to insisting AI show its work to keep humans engaged and learning, and then cultivating that beginner's mindset, bringing in more interns, prioritizing prototyping over immediate perfection. It's quite a different approach.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the culmination is this idea that by making certain steps almost free, trivially cheap things at AI, they could completely rethink the fundamental order and assumptions behind their core processes.
So maybe the provocative thought to leave everyone with is this: thinking about your own work, your team, your organization. What unbelievable amount of waste, as the worm might put it, or what hidden inefficiencies are lurking in your processes?
Yeah. And could those be transformed? Not just by speeding up the current steps, but by fundamentally changing how things are done now that AI has potentially shifted the cost, the effort, the very possibility of doing things differently. What processes could you completely reimagine?